13.
It is a new episode of Radio Rothingham, which is a podcast that exists on the internet. Today I'll be drawing Heckapoo from Star vs. the Forces of Evil, because why the fuck not? We got two co-hosts with us. There is the Xaverius.
Artrix, don't talk about yourself in the plural.
But I'm not talking about myself.
You said we, and then you said we have two co-hosts, and no.
But you're part of the we.
But
Or
I don't have.
are you part of the you? Or are you part of the we you?
I am always the part of me.
Okay. I also got Sekele.
I am here.
Yes. So yeah, I guess it's gonna be fairly run-of-the-mill episode since not all that much happened this week. Apparently shit ton of topics happened last week, but Xaverius has the memory for goldfish and he forgot all of his topics. All of them.
Yes.
Do you remember who you are, Xaverius?
I didn't buy any loot boxes to get more memory slots, Artrix.
Oh yeah, then you should definitely buy more loot boxes to get to download more memory.
Yes.
That-
And we should buy more loot boxes to get more co-hosts.
Just go to cohost.com, buy a few loot boxes, and maybe, just maybe, you'll get a co-host. But you'll probably just get nothing but avatars of random people that serve no other purpose than to have an avatar.
Yes.
So it's you're just looking at a picture of some random dude on the internet. Or do that. We're not sexist here. We're a very inclusive podcast, you see. That's why we have so many female. That's why we have so many co-hosts on this episode. So many female
Apparently,
co-hosts on this episode.
Even Shadow of War is very diverse and it features orange orcs.
Oh, so
Not
okay,
just
so
the green orcs.
I'm guessing that's a segue into the first topic. So what about this, and how is it terrible or fantastic?
But it's fantastic because it features racially diverse orcs.
Uh-huh.
It's terrible because of all the other reasons.
But wait a minute, isn't orc a race in and of itself?
Yes,
Yeah.
but
what-
they have races too.
Okay, so but was this something that was always established, or is it something that they shoved in because diversity?
No, they are like, let's have orange and pink orcs.
Okay. So
Well, if I remember correctly, differentiate between the regular orcs and the Uruk-hai, and I think there were some differences between orcs of Mordor, of Orthanc, of Moria. So, yeah. Although it should be noted that the way he handled races, it was like, yeah, more types of the same.
Yes, obviously.
Thor and the Rohan were supposed to be different races, but they were basically all just white guys.
Well, there were the black guys down there.
all right.
Or left.
Well, or left. Well, to my knowledge, orcs were mostly just these really big green dudes that obviously come in different colors, and apparently
Those are the Warcraft orcs.
and apparently orange is one of them now.
Yes.
If I remember, actually, from the official illustration, D&D orcs are gray, like Dungeons and Dragons orcs.
Okay, yeah. I also read something about elves, and yeah, they too have really odd skin colors. Like most people probably just think of them as being, well, almost white, as in literally 255, 255, 255 white. But no, apparently there's like
Yeah, like the high elves, at least according to D&D lore, have bronze skin.
exactly. So that kind of struck me as I don't think I've ever seen them like that, or it's just the way they've been illustrated.
Well,
all
according
this
to
time.
Elder Scrolls, they are golden.
Well, then again, according
Dark
to
elves
okay,
absolutely love about Dungeons and Dragons. Dark elves, or the drow as they call them, are black, even though they live underground. Ground where there is no sunlight, yet they are black.
Yes, that's because their god is an asshole. She's like, you live undergrounds and you get to be niggers.
Also, I love how cosplaying like a drow is like the only excuse you have a black face.
And be naked, mostly.
oh god, that reminds me. In a month or so, I'll make that more than yeah. In a month or so, Santa Claus season is gonna start again, and we're gonna have this whole goddamn conversation up and running again about racism and racism and slavery and not
See, and
looking.
that's why you do like slaves and demonize the black people to the point of them being the devil, and then you put that into the tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can tell you a thing.
No, I think it's even dumber when foreigners criticize us for the three kings. One of them is a black guy, and yeah, we wear blackface when portraying him, but hey, he's a good guy.
He gave Jesus a thing.
But that's the thing in this tradition, when I was in school, and no one gave a shit because everyone was like, all the kids were like, oh my god, this Santa Claus guy and his blackface helpers, they're going to give us all the gifts, and didn't matter what color the kids were, they
You
all
are so
wanted
fucking big, Artrix.
they all wanted the goddamn gifts.
Why are you so weak as a
We
culture? Like, why would you do that to kids, just giving them stuff? Here we have devils, and if you've been a naughty child, the devil is going to take you into a sack and bring you straight to hell. So
oh yeah.
behave, you fuck.
Yeah, in our version, you were going to be brought back to Spain, which in
That's even
hindsight,
worse.
yeah,
Which is basically
we,
hell.
Fate worse than that.
in hindsight, I'm like, well, that isn't so bad. You go to Spain, and just especially back then, since there weren't euros yet. So you go to Spain, you arrive there with your pocket change, and then you realize that you're now one of the multimillionaires in Spain.
Hey, Artrix, are you sure that's a blackface? Isn't it just like trying to say that Spaniards are niggers?
I don't know.
Or maybe it's actual blackface and it's supposed to be the Moors, that were wars over Spain with the Spanish people.
Huh?
Civilized humanity.
Yes, maybe the Netherlands people were like, they also hate the Spanish. Maybe they are not as bad as we thought.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure if you were aware, but at one point
And then they were helpers.
at one point the Spanish kind of colonized the Netherlands. They were like, "This is ours now," and
Yes,
and
I
and,
know.
and 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 then we said no.
That's the presupposition under this entire discussion, Artrix.
So then we were like, no. And then Spain was like, yes, and we said no, and we did that for 80 years.
Then Spain got bored.
Yeah, I guess it quite literally got bored, and then we tried to do what they did, and then Belgium got bored. They were like, stop doing it, Netherlands, you're mean. And then we were like, well, this is what the Spanish were doing all these years, and then Belgium was, oh, fine, we'll leave. You see that this whole thing is also a perfect segue into the Catalonia situation. So yeah, back then we were like, we have a little war, and then and then we decided, you know what, it's not worth the effort anymore. So fine, you can have your little Belgium. You can have it. We'll just sit here and be awesome, while you be Belgium, which in the end turned out to be all right. So, but now we have Catalonia that's like, you know what? We're done with this Spain. We want to be our own Spain with blackjack and hookers. But Spain's not letting them. I don't know about hookers in Catalonia. I haven't seen many brothels in Barcelona, but then again,
Yeah, probably expensive since
it's Barcelona.
it's 1/5 of the Spain economy.
That
So,
then they were
Naturally, Catalonia's hookers have to be 1/5 of the hooker economy of Spain.
the thing is that they were probably hidden pretty well, like just around the street corner, just out of touristy areas. So all I found were stores where you walk in, and I was just looking at the t-shirts, and then the guy just comes up to you and he starts, he's like, "Hey, you like shirt? You like shirt?" I'm like, "I'm just want to look around. I'm just looking at these shirts." He's like, "Oh, the nice shirt, nice shirt. You can have it for €15."
And
Like,
then Artrix goes, "Do you have any hookers?"
but no, there were no hookers. Just this guy trying to
How
sell
do you
me
know that? Maybe he had them under the thing.
under
deal.
under the counter.
Under the counter, yes.
Yes.
Under the counter horse.
Oh, I know why you're here.
You have to be inventive in this sort of stuff.
Instead of t-shirt, how about hooker? It's €50.
It's like the exact opposite of my London experience.
What was your
All
London
the
experience?
hookers in London were like in your face.
But they were all dressed in burqas, so what does it matter?
Well, insert joke about not having to see their face or something like that.
Oh, that reminded me. Our president apparently said, I love the guy. He's drunk all the time. When he's not drunk, people say he has dementia. Well, he said that he understands why the Muslims forbid some women from being seen. And he said that some women, on the other hand, should not be allowed to wear anything.
God tier. Man is a god. He's a godsend and a god.
He doesn't give any sort of fuck. He's amazing.
Your prime minister's city. It's great.
No, that's a president. Our prime minister.
Yeah, I mean president. Sorry.
Our
Prime minister is just
old, and he tried to get the entire government to have a resignation based on the fact he didn't like the vice prime minister. And then the president was like, "Well, I'll accept your resignation." And he was like, "No,
no, that's not
There
what I
was no
wanted.
resignation.
So yeah,
And
Catalonia.
now we have elections apparently
Oh.
tomorrow and today.
Oh, that escalated quickly.
My boss was very disappointed that I'm not electing anybody.
Oh, so you're foregoing this whole concept. You're just gonna chill and you're just gonna Netflix and chill, except for the chilling and Netflix.
Except for the Netflix and the chilling, yes.
Yeah.
Well, if I ever have to vote, I'm going to vote the most extremist far-right party that exists here.
Which is?
I don't know. I think it's the neo-Nazis.
Oh, okay.
They call themselves the Workers' Party.
Of course they do.
It sounds more like communists.
But
Well, they don't care.
That's the thing about Nazis. They're not communists, but they have a lot in common with communists. That's what a lot of these people tend to forget. Like, yeah, the Nazis are bad.
Or maybe the better name would be Laborers' Party.
And they're right, they were pretty shitty. But they were also communists, in a way. Well,
Who cares? You are a communist.
Well,
Anonymous fat man on the internet.
right.
It was a quote.
Heckapoo's hair is pretty weird. No, but
So
I actually never. I did look into the economics of Nazi Germany, and they never really seemed to really care about it, in the sense that they seem to be more concerned about war than actually having a solid economy.
Well,
And
they had a war.
Yes.
Like the war was right there. First solve that and then have economy.
Mhm. Well, then again, they were reverting very important resources away from the war effort and into this whole Holy Cast project. It could have been spent in better ways. If
Imagine the gas-powered tanks.
Hmm? Yeah, just build a tank from nothing but Zyklon B capsules or the canisters. Actually, yeah, that's a pretty deadly tank because no one will dare to shoot it. Just imagine it. You're driving around with your Zyklon B tank.
Yes,
It's
just
just a
driving
tank.
into the middle of the enemy troops and
Yeah,
be like,
exactly.
I'm going with you.
And no one even dares to get anywhere near it. They're not gonna shoot you. You're just a big ticking time bomb.
Was Cyclone B flammable?
No, but it was extremely poisonous. The way they, systematically killed millions of people was like you put them in a big room, and
Nice scarf, Artrix.
yeah, that was a pretty good timing, yes. But yeah, you put a lot of people in the room, and they were like these pellets that you put in there, and the pellets release the gas or something like that. But that means that if you have like this tank made of canister Cyclone B and you shoot them, that will probably release the gases as well. I don't know.
Interesting bit of info on Cyclone B, by the way. It was a pesticide.
It was used extensively in the United States. For some really weird reason, they stopped using it. I don't know why, but they kind
Probably
of
because of the associations.
obviously yes. But
They're pretty good at demonizing the Nazis.
The
Oh no.
producer of
Well,
Cyclone
Nazis once sang this song. Let's not sing it ever again. Not to mention about the salute that like everybody in the history used all the time, and the Nazis did it once, and then nobody's using it anymore.
well, okay. With that logic, a Nazi probably liked spaghetti at one point. So obviously, no one should ever enjoy spaghetti ever again.
Italy is part of the Axis, and Italy created.
Yes.
Yeah, but then again, but
Alex,
I can
remember how
I
in
can
first
I
how in the Great War,
can hold on. I can one up you and say that Schnitzel's enjoyed by people all over the world. Nazis liked Schnitzel.
the guys from Austria,
Checkmate atheist. I don't care. Also,
the,
Austria was
the
part
small
of.
Nazis.
Austria was
Hitler.
pretty much part of the Nazi.
At that point,
By the way,
yes, you remember how Italy was part of the
Yes.
German affiliated people in the First World War. And then they were like, we don't like how this is going. Let's join the winners. And so they joined the winners. So at that point, they apparently started demonizing Italy so much in Germany they even stopped serving salads.
Wait, Illy's got a patent on salads to the point where no one else is allowed to use salad.
Well, that is
well,
like
if I remember correctly, there is.
they stopped propagating Italian things, so no Italian food and things. Like one day you go around doing Italian affiliated stuff because they are allies, and the next day you are not doing any of that stuff because they are not your allies.
No, I actually I don't remember the relations between Nazi Germany and Italy going sour like that. I was always under the impression that they just.
Artrix, it was 100 years ago. It's okay if you don't remember.
Okay. Anyway, I think this whole conversation came from the situation in Catalonia. So how about them Catalonians?
Are they free?
Not yet. They're still Spain. But yeah, the reaction from the Spanish government is so far has been incredibly shitty, in the sense that they don't know how to defuse this bomb at all.
Well, obviously they are going to look at Catalonia sternly and be like, "Are you going independent or not?" And then the Catalonian chief person is like, "I don't know.
Well,
What was that? I don't know."
I think they made it pretty clear that they still have the intention to independence themselves.
Yes, but they didn't
the
say it officially.
yeah, the official statement
Because
is.
the moment they say it officially, Spain is going. Well, Catalonia is going to be full of Spain, like fuller than normally.
Mhm. Aren't they already full of Spain? Like, isn't there like a
Yes,
shit
I
ton of?
just said fuller than normally. They have
Mm.
some Spain in it, but it could be
No, no,
worse.
no.
They could get
What
more Spain.
what I meant is, don't they already have like a shit ton of troops in Catalonia right now?
But is it army?
Uh, well, it's paramilitary police force. They're
Every time
like
somebody says paramilitary, I imagine military. They're just coming in parachutes.
me too. That's funny, but apparently it also means like police force, but that's very militarized or some shit like that.
So American police
Hmm.
riding around in small tanks.
Well, obviously you need a tank to stop people from robbing the local convenience store, right?
I mean, it is called a ghetto blaster for a reason.
Right. I
But why
think.
would they rob a convenience store when it's not Spanish? They want to keep that.
Yeah, and Spain is full of convenience stores. Well,
Exactly.
okay, not specifically Spain. Maybe all the convenience stores are in Barcelona. Maybe I think I got it. I
I think there's
solved
only one that's big,
I
really big.
I solved the mystery. I know exactly why Spain is so aggressive towards Catalonia, because they don't want to lose their convenience stores. All of them, and I mean literally all of them, are in Barcelona, and they don't
How
want to lose.
convenient.
Yeah, and they don't want to lose their convenience store, so they're using the entire military might to keep Catalonia from seceding, just
I mean,
because.
I understand the sentiment. It's like a purse. You put all your convenience stores into Catalonia.
Mhm.
So when you go somewhere, you just take that part of the country with you, and you don't have to bother with the rest. That can stay at home.
You say that, but um, it kind of legitimately is that way. They put a lot of their eggs in Barcelona and Catalonia. It's one, if not the most
One
prosperous.
fifth of the eggs, to be
Yes.
exact.
Oh, you actually have the numbers. Cool.
It's like 27% or something like that.
27% of
No,
the
no, no, no,
entire
no, no,
of the
no,
population. Oh,
23. 23% of the Spanish economy.
wow.
And,
Yeah.
and they are like, we are paying you all these taxes and we are getting little back. We don't like this.
You mean the
We are
Catalonians?
going to pay ourselves taxes and give ourselves donations from government.
Well, if the income disparity is that big, which it is, I mean, if the entirety of Spain, I mean, Catalonia is like a really small piece of Spain. Albeit,
It's less than one fifth of the Spain,
yes.
that I can tell you.
Also, population-wise, or just by land area. I mean, Barcelona is the second biggest city of Spain, but a few other major cities are also in Catalonia, like Valencia, I believe. My Spanish geography is really bad because I always care a lot about Spain.
Well, Catalonia is even smaller than Netherlands.
Yes,
It's
but
how does that make you feel?
if well, pretty good.
It's actually about as big as Belgium, slightly bigger.
Well, just goes to show that size isn't everything. You can be a small country, but if you're super wealthy, that doesn't mean jack shit. No one gives a shit if your country is wealthy. Just look at Monaco. It's a really small fucking country. Yet everyone knows about it because it's it's so rich and small, and also it's a tax haven. Like you go there and you're like, hey, I got all these monies, and Monaco's like, yeah, just give it, give money, and you don't have to pay taxes. Like none of them. But yeah, Spain not exactly doing the right thing. If they really just let this, it all comes down to the way they handled that referendum. If they just had if they just had a hands-off approach and just ignore the result, I think things would have gone down a lot better than this whole thing where they quite literally march in and physically prevent people from voting. If there's one thing you don't want to do as a government is create a situation where you're literally keeping people from voting. If you want to give people the impression that you don't give a shit, then that's exactly the way to go. So GG Spain, this is all on you. I mean, if Catalonia wants to be its own country and then have a socialist revolution, that's all up to them. That if they want to live that way, that's their prerogative.
If they want to have socialism, they probably don't want to live Artrix.
Yeah.
I mean,
Socialism.
look at certain South American country that starts with V.
You mean Venus? No, but
I'm in Venice, Artrix.
oh, Venice, obviously.
Well, about Venezuela. Apparently, lots of airline companies are not flying there anymore and not flying from there anymore. So Venezuela is kind of becoming isolated hell.
So not only is it
Not only you are dying of hunger and all you have to eat is rabbits that slowly kill you, you can't even leave anymore.
well, you can. It's just harder. I mean,
You have to swim over the ocean.
nothing is stopping you from just getting into your car if you can afford one. So if even if you kind of manage to get
You managed to find a car.
Mm-hmm. Well, they probably gave you one at one point. I mean, it is glorious socialism after all.
That's true.
So you get in your Lada, and or your Trabant or whatever, or your 50-year-old American car that barely runs.
Exactly, year of make 1976.
Mm-hmm. And you drive up to a place like Colombia. You cross the border, and you're like, finally, I'm free from this socialist dictatorship, and then FARC kills you because drug cartels and whatnot.
Yes, nothing stopping you from living in a country except for all the drug cartels.
To be fair, apparently things have kind of died down between FARC and the Colombian government, but I still wouldn't call it like a nice place to live. It's probably still, tensions are probably still high. Let's just put
It's probably nice if you're a drug lord or something, I think.
Oh yeah,
Basically, socialism is not a way of life; it's a way of death.
Well, not really. It's just a lot of misery. I mean,
And death. Not just normal death, miserable death.
well, it depends. Are people actually dying
Yes.
of starvation in Venezuela, or are they just really, really poor right now? Because so far, I haven't really heard any confirmed cases of people just flat out starving to death.
It's not like they are going to tell you.
That's a fair point. But then,
Especially because the media are too hungry to talk.
but yeah, that's where you say trust but verify. And
Plus, the Western media is so in love with socialism, they are not going to say anything bad about it, even if it's true. Especially if it's true.
Well, that's because socialism is good for your skin. And, I mean, like, look at North Korea. Did you know that Kim Jong-un is better than Trump in all aspects?
of course, I bet.
The media is a big fan of him. Even though, like, recently he was like, Trump threatening us could lead into nuclear war. We have the right to fire the first missile.
You mean that's a statement from the Koreans?
Yes, that's the statement from the Koreans.
Well, it makes sense that they would say that. Then again, yeah.
I mean, they could fire the first missile, then they have to work on building a new one, and in the meantime, There's a lot of countries who have more missiles and they haven't used them
I
in
was I was
decades.
going I was gonna say that. I mean, yeah, you can say that. No one's stopping you. But you know, if the United States is like, yeah, so you fired one measly nuke at Guam and it missed. Yeah. Well, we're not even going to whip out the nukes. We're just going to use a bunch of Moabs and be done with it.
They're not even going to bother.
Okay, fortunately, Civilization is that simple in the sense that the whole crux of the situation right now is, well, China is kind of having a hands-off approach right now, but I don't think that they'd be very happy with having a nuclear war on their doorstep. So you don't want to do that. And the biggest deterrent right now is South Korea. The problem is that North Korea figuratively has like a finger on the button, and if that one's being pressed, it's by say bye to Seoul. And I
Yes.
don't think anyone wants to have to deal with that, with the knowledge that how many people do live in Seoul? Like
At least 5.
at least 5, or maybe 5 million. I don't know.
So maybe it's not a good idea to start a war right next to China.
Mm-hmm.
China is just going to slightly roll over and your country is not existing anymore.
Yeah. Well, we've seen the might of the Chinese army back in the Korean War. Then again, that was with the help of the Soviets. So
Okay, apparently Seoul has, as in the area, not the city
the
itself.
the metropolitan area, yes.
Yes, the metropolitan area has 9.86 millions in the year 2015.
Yeah, so that's about 10 million lives on the line. That and a large chunk of the Korean economy.
Well, it's not like Americans haven't killed more people.
Oh no, I'm definitely not saying that America hasn't done anything. Though 10 million is quite a lot. And in this case, it wouldn't be, directly due to America being America, but it would be Korea's doing. I mean, I don't even think that many people died in the Korean War. Or not in the Korean War, what was it? The Vietnam War. I mean, a lot of people died, but not 10 million.
Yes.
I mean, even the Iraq War, which was a really retarded war, didn't have that many casualties.
They should have bought more loot boxes to get better weapons.
Yeah, they definitely, they should have gotten that nice knife with the cool skin, and
The nice nuke with the cool skin. Oh my god, it's tiger skin for my nuke.
oh my god! So you have the stream, and you have like Trump is sitting there playing the damn game. He's like, yes, you got the new knife. I got the new knife, people. Or it would probably be more like,
Yeah,
I tell you, no one gets better loot boxes than me. I get the best loot boxes, and they're lovely loot boxes. Trust me.
he lifts the red phone and is like, Pence, come look at this.
Raise the rainbow.
Yes, rainbow nukes.
Anyway, maybe we should get to a new topic, and I know just which one.
Oh
Which
my God,
is
did you buy a loot box that has a topic in it?
yeah, actually bought a loot box, and there's a topic in it. It's
Oh
not a
my
very
God.
nice one though, because apparently in the current year of Lord of Savior, the Flying Spaghetti Monster,
Ooh,
there's this guy, and he made this TV show, and it's on Nickelodeon.
that
And
keeps happening.
it keeps happening. These guys go, we live in such a patriarchal society that it's just guys getting these jobs. No woman has ever directed the show,
Woman.
and let alone create a show. No woman has ever done that.
No, they are being held down. Used just as animators and voice actors.
Exactly. Anyway, so this guy, he is being accused of being a mass rapist, killer, sexuator, murderer.
You have to find inspiration for a show somewhere.
Well, actually no, but
You don't
Kevin
have to.
Savino, whatever his name is. No, that's someone else. So I've got
No?
his last name is Savino.
To the Google machine!
Anyway, so he apparently is being accused. So there's no proof as of yet, but he has several allegations. Oh, Chris Savino. There we go. He has several allegations of sexual harassment. And apparently that's enough for Nick Learn to say, you're fired. Which, from a business point of view, I can understand. Because they're like, oh, we're not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
You sound like Problems, stranger.
I sounded like what?
And he's like, I'm not a stranger. You are now.
Anyway, your thoughts.
Problem with this approach is that thanks to this sort of approach, it becomes incredibly easy to get rid of people you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Like rapists.
My thoughts exactly. That's the whole danger of this allegation culture, and this listen and believe dynamic. Like I get that sexual harassment and whatnot is a terrible thing. Don't get me wrong. But if all it takes is an accusation to ruin someone's life like that puts a lot of power in the hands of people that will undoubtedly
that's nothing necessarily new. That happens on college campuses all the time.
Yes.
Well, American ones, and maybe Canadian, British,
Well,
and other
obviously,
Anglo-Saxon
Europe
garbage.
doesn't have colleges. We have universities.
Like more or less the same thing.
But different name. That's the whole point of the joke.
But yeah. So I don't know how credible these allegations are. For all we know, they're actually fairly credible to the point where it's more or less confirmed. But in this day and age, you can't know for sure. It's kind of shitty.
Was that after or before the Weinstein person?
After.
Oh, see, I think the Weinstein person accusations kind of started something, as in people coming out and saying yes, this guy is raping stuff.
Oh, you mean the whole the hashtag campaign that's going on right now?
I don't know anything about that. I'm not that knowledgeable in the ways of the internet out there, especially since it's a Twitter hashtag, therefore it goes way over my head.
No, well, apparently there's this hashtag going on the Twitter bot thingies, and the use the hashtag me too if you ever had to deal with sexual harassment, and let's get this trend. So people started doing that, and
I'm so sexual. I basically harass myself all the time.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, dude. I kind of have mixed feelings about it, in the sense that that, and apparently there's some retarded conspiracy theories going out there, like oh yeah, it's the Hollywood people just covering their tracks about their pedophilia.
It does sound kind of believable, like a few goats.
I mean, if we look at the Weinstein things, also one actress was like, yes, he is a terrible person, and other people are also terrible persons, and then suddenly she found herself blocked by Twitter. So Twitter is Nazis now.
Oh yeah, obviously they are. Also now I remember one of the allegations directed at Savino.
Allegations.
Allegations. Lol. But supposedly, one of the interns working for Savino, one of the female workers for Savino, like one of the animators.
Hey, don't be sexist, Artrix.
Okay,
Did you just assume her gender?
Oh no, I think the article actually mentioned her gender, so I guess they were, sexist.
They were the ones assuming.
Yes, they were once assuming her gender because, for all we know, she was a trigendered pyrofox. I don't know.
Yes.
But yeah, so according to her, Zafino offered her a position on the team in exchange for sexual favors.
Position as a member or position on a member?
No, position on the team, as in, working
as
on
a member.
Yes.
As a member of the team. Artrix, the joke wouldn't work without that.
So
that is some pretty flimsy.
Pretty flimsy what? What is it? Is it that it's flimsy?
How do you prove something like that?
Well, that's the problem with this sort of thing. It's very hard to do, but not impossible. If the government collects all the data the way it does, they might be able to find out if this exchange ever happened. There's also the factor where she could just have declined it. Like, yeah, no, fuck off, I'm not going to work for this company if that's the way things go.
Yeah.
But I'm sure someone will argue, Artrix, you're a sexist, women shouldn't have to do that, therefore, yeah.
Artrix, I don't think they would go that far in their arguments. They'll be like, Artrix, you're sexist, you are male.
Oh yeah, and you're a white male or something
Yes.
like that.
Stop fucking a white male, Artrix.
Because from what I gather in this story is that I don't really get from this story whether she actually got the job or just flat out declined it. But let me just say that if I were in that situation, I would just not have gotten it, and I would have even just reported Savino. Like, yeah, this guy is asking for sexual favors in exchange for.
He's not even pretty.
Yeah, so I don't want this goddamn job, and just so you know, this shit is going on. Nothing wrong with that.
Wrong.
Though that's the thing. Maybe that's exactly what happened. Maybe this chick got this offer and she was like, no, fuck that shit, I'm not doing that. Instead, I'll just go to Nickelodeon and tell them what kind of a shit you are.
If only there was somebody who would report on this after investigation.
Yeah, after investigation. That's
Yes.
kind of the important part here.
Not before investigation.
Until proven guilty. Does that mean anything to Americans still?
I mean, you don't have to investigate
Well,
if he's guilty.
Here's the thing. He's probably being investigated, but there's nothing stopping Nickelodeon from firing him. I think that's also one of the one thing in the American system where there's like this this code of conduct, which basically boils down to freedom of association. So if a company is like, yeah, we don't want to associate with this person, the state can't force them to associate with them.
That basically means that if you, for example, on a company and there is someone who's your competition, for example, this to get rid of them.
So you're saying that it's a way to sabotage your competition? Just
I
by
mean, as far as these networks go, especially as far as Nickelodeon goes, the competition is pretty damn brutal over there.
yes.
Besides that Nickelodeon is the network that will cancel every show if it doesn't have SpongeBob level ratings right on premiere, right?
That's the company we're talking about.
That SpongeBob is a zombie at this point. Like Simpson.
Yeah.
Yeah, and basically now we are in a situation where, again, will be nothing but SpongeBob once again.
Oh no, hold on. There is one thing though. Just because Savino was fired doesn't mean it's the end of the Loud House. And I don't think Nickelodeon is.
Nickelodeon.
I
I mean, it happened with Cartoon Network and Skylar Page.
The similar situation where he was fired over something and
Years ago, Skylar Page, the creator of a Cartoon Network show Clarence,
yes.
was accused of sexual harassment and got, left out of the network.
So the show went to shit.
Clarence also, yeah, it got to go for one more season, but afterwards, well, it officially hasn't ended yet. Like Cartoon Network hasn't aired all the episodes, but the production ended long ago.
Ah, okay.
Basically, brings me to a little conspiracy theory that 4chan has, which is that considering that both Loud House and Clarence were shows pretty wholesome and pretty oriented on family values, that someone is systematically trying to destroy shows of this type. Have shows anymore that promote good family values. It's 2017, you guys.
Yeah, that sounds pretty conspiracy theory-ish. Also considering that there are still fair number of
family values.
Considering that, I suppose there's still a fair number of quote-unquote family value shows out there, aside from Loud House and Clarence.
Of Gumball, right?
Simpsons.
Oh yeah,
Right
Simpsons.
now, I can think of right now are Gumball and Bob's Burgers.
Yep. Oh yeah, Gumball's a pretty big one.
It's produced in Europe, so they are kind of harder to sabotage.
I saw one episode of that, absolutely at random, and it was in Arabic for some reason.
It seems kind of far-fetched to me, but then again, it is a 4chan conspiracy theory, so that should go without saying. Just saying. But
Just
yeah,
saying.
just Super Saiyan. But yeah, I suppose we'll see how it will affect the show. For all we know, it will keep chugging along just fine. With
Nickelodeon will be back to only airing SpongeBob and nothing else.
yeah, I don't.
And more SpongeBob.
Well, they're going to air SpongeBob regardless of anything.
SpongeBob reruns just after SpongeBob.
SpongeBob, the sequel of the prequel of the sequel or something.
Of the quote.
But yeah, Loud House is kind of a cash cow right now. It's even beating SpongeBob in a way. So I doubt they're going to
get rid of
No way, wait, what way, Artrix?
I don't know. Well, there were times when it was outperforming SpongeBob. So, I suppose, yeah, they're not. This whole scandal thing's probably kicking them in the nuts right now.
Possibly.
Which would probably be a joke they would make on the Loud House.
I mean, it's a scandal. Scandals do that.
Okay, I guess we don't really have anything more to add to this. Yeah, no one fucking knows what the true story is. It's all
I don't know what's going on at all.
Well,
also,
oh, go ahead.
There is no League of Legends.
What about it?
It exists.
Mm-hmm.
And once in a while, they are like, oh no, nobody's playing this champion. So, what they do, they come and redo the abilities. And then redo the model, and then redo the fucking lore, because apparently releasing a new champion instead is too much work. I don't know why they do that. They do that. Oh, and now they took the resident person called Widowmaker, who usually just wears nothing but a loosely held together net and a set of heels that have spikes. And they made her into a demon. Succubus thing that doesn't even wear heels because it's all out of black keratin demon stuff. And suddenly there are people coming out of the woodwork saying that's a very unrealistic depiction of women. Just how?
It's a demon.
Yes,
For Christ's sake,
it's a shape-shifting succubus. She could look like a coffee machine if she chose to, but that's not very sexy. And well, except for a very small group of people who find coffee machines sexy. Well, yes. Anyway, it's like, how do you even? They are not even trying to do this. If they tried to do this, it wouldn't be so obvious, because it's so very obvious that they don't actually know much about the game, because Evelyn is there at least since 2010 when I started playing, and she always was very, very scantily clad. And suddenly now they are reworking her. It's a problem that she has her belly button on. By the way, in South Korea they censored it for some reason. She doesn't have midriff there.
Wait! In all places on the planet, is South Korea doing that? Isn't South Korea one of those places where they don't give a shit about that sort of thing? Except for now, apparently. I mean, in South Korea, they're very concerned about video addiction, to the point where if you want to play stuff like MOBAs, you have to use your social security number to even be able to fucking play the game. It's like, hey, looks like I want to play Vidya. What's your social security number? And please wait as we get the government approved authorization code so we can play. And meanwhile you quit because you got fucking bored and you decide to play something else instead because it's too much of a fucking hassle. But from what I gather, so this League of Legends has a shit ton of heroes, and they just
yes, and sometimes they go
repurposed.
back and horribly mangle some of them.
Okay.
And this time they horribly mangled one that was always almost naked, and they kept her almost naked. And now, after like 8 years of maybe even more, but I think she's one of the original set. After 10 years of existence, she's now a problem. It's kind of indicative of how much do these concerned people know these games.
Well, that's a very common that's a very common theme with these kind of people.
Basically, these people do not play video games. They never did. They never will.
I'm gonna get back on that in a bit, but let's finish this first. So how many heroes are there in League of Legends? I heard there were like a lot. I heard there were like...
The last time I counted, it was something close to 90, so it's probably over 100 by now.
Jeez. Yeah.
I haven't played in a year and a half.
Then it's no wonder that some heroes get underutilized. Because
yes,
I'm sure.
Why do you have to redo everything about them? Just release a new one.
Yeah, if we got 100 heroes already, then just create a new one.
And sometimes it's even shitty. I never forgave them when they took a troll who was inflicted with a terrible lepra disease, leprosy kind of thing
Hmm.
that his tribe had, and he had such a good regeneration that in that state he looked like a healthy troll. So they decided to transfer all that curse to him. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be your savior. And then when they did that, they were like, well, we are all normal now, except for you. Fuck off. So he fucked off, and it was a quite tragic story. But then they decided, the Riot people that developed the game, that this original story is apparently not good enough. So they remade him into a random, very muscly ice troll.
Ah.
Why would you do that?
So they
Well,
made him more
then
generic.
then then
Yes.
then again, since there are 100 fucking heroes, like who the fuck cares? That they basically just throw heroes at people and see what sticks. Like, who cares if this hero is gonna be successful or not? Just put him in there. I'm sure someone will
Yeah.
like him.
Exactly. So why go back and redo? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, we got dozens of heroes. Just we've just been throwing shit at people, but oh, we gotta be really careful now and redesign this one character because reasons. Speaking of people, not really, no, not really being video game players, or shall I say it, gamers. So yeah, there was this little situation with our good old friends, the video game journalists. Those people that get paid to
They
play.
are very good at games.
Yes. So it's no surprise to anyone that Cuphead is a hard game. It also looks fucking amazing. I might pick it up.
I don't like it. It reminds me. Well, it's based on the 1930s cartoons, and like especially Disney back then was fucking nightmarish.
That,
Something about the movement is so creeping me out.
I think it's perfect. Just the fact that elicits that kind of reaction makes it perfect. I love it.
Yes, but it's all like it would be drawn by, well,
Everything's
basically Walt
fucking
Disney.
noodly
Nobody
and
likes
shit.
Walt Disney.
I think that even adds to the charm of the game because yes,
Then again, maybe Walt Disney wasn't that bad. He hated Jews.
the cartoons in the cartoons in the 1920s and
Yes,
30s
but
were
the game itself doesn't have this horror tint to the animation, so it's quite lookable at.
well, obviously it's made with modern technology. Um, it's quite obviously so, but they really did a good job at capturing the aesthetic and yeah,
Yes, that they did.
they did, and apparently it's also a good game in the sense that it really challenges you and whatnot. Like it's a really meritocratic game.
Meritocratic. And
Yeah.
and by challenging you, it means it doesn't show you
Exclude
a big
people.
arrow to everything that you do. It's kind of like, remember Rayman Legends? It's kind of like the challenge levels at the end, except those were dependent on making your screen to display nothing at all.
Mhm.
Those were fun levels in the worst sense possible. They were good. Yes, and Cuphead is just like, yes, this is a game, and there's difficulty, and the difficulty increases. Wow, such a novel concept.
Mhm. But apparently it's too hard, and now we have this whole slew of gaming articles that are like, yeah, we need to skip the boss button. We need to be able to skip the bosses because this game is being exclusionary.
A game where half of the gameplay is fighting the damned bosses.
Yeah, so
Well,
effectively, if you,
it's dependent on
A
something
game
else.
that has barely any plot, cutscenes. Like, what's the
With
point?
Cuphead, it was more like Cuphead is the Dark Souls of platformers. Dark Souls is not hard, guys. It's about going through a boss, getting wrecked, and then figuring out what the boss does, and then evading those blows. That's how games should work. That's how
yes,
bosses generally work.
once you get the pattern down, you know, once you've tried it like 700 times, you eventually
Yes.
figure it out.
Exactly.
That's what the thrill comes from. That's the fun of video games.
Indeed, that's the challenge. And forming a strategy, formulating a plan, getting over those challenges, and having a sense of satisfaction for achieving something.
So yeah,
Mainly, if you think about it.
if there's a shiny skip boss fight button, then no.
You have
So
to
that,
understand.
that skip boss button article was not prompted by Cuphead, even though it was fantastic to watch that video games journalist not be able to do a jump plus dash for 5 minutes until his stream chat told him how to do it. And that was in tutorial where it was written
Yes,
on the screen. It
everything
was
was
absolutely,
literally on the screen.
yes, it was
All
amazing. Yeah, well, the thing that prompted the skip boss button article was the new Ask Creed 76 Vivus Kangs,
mm-hmm.
the one with the Egyptians, and they are all black. And you have bows with stats because a game about assassin going to people, sneaking in their home, and then cutting their throat needs bows with stats on them.
Mm-hmm.
That was a sidetrack. Um, yes, so this game apparently has this free roam mode, which lets you roam freely and have no enemies and no obstacles and no goals. So basically, it's absolutely useless.
It's a literal sandbox game.
Yes, sandbox game where you can't do anything. It's just like, oh, it's a building. It's another building. Ooh, a tree. Another building. That's apparently this is the kind of thing that game journalists like.
Yeah, they just, you know,
Just buy a screensaver with Egyptian theme.
exactly. They want their
Anyway,
walking simulators and whatnot. And
anyway,
then
you said that
Just Artix, just imagine when these game journalists who are probably about as old as I'm, when they discover the old screensaver with the maze from Windows 98 or Windows 5. That's going to blow their minds.
anyway, Sekele, you were saying? I
I
think
guess it wasn't.
I think there's some
What
lag
are you
involved.
saying, Sekele? He's very silent. He's dead.
I think he died it. Sekele, don't die. Anyway, phew. So yeah, it prompted all these articles. It also, for some fucking reason, they all appear at the same time. One of them starts writing about it, and then, you know, they all start about it.
Yes, that's like
So that
that's the
isn't.
thing. Better copy it. Sometimes they are basically on the same team, just on two different sides. But
Hmm.
yeah, you write for this side, I write for this side. Let's compare it so it's similar. And sometimes just like, well, we know there are mailing lists. We know very well there are mailing lists.
Hmm.
But they're just like, yes, write about this. Don't forget to include this detail.
Well, don't forget the Jedi standing next to your car and saying there are no mailing lists. There are no mailing lists.
Yes, that too. This is not the mailing list you are looking for. And then you get articles like this, yes. Also, obviously, there was a troll person who made a article. It was titled something like Cuphead is the example of the elitist garbage that's going on in video games right now, and people obviously thought it's real because what's the law? Is it Goodwin's law or Poe's law? The one
Post law.
that
When you
states
can't tell whether someone's being genuine or not. I you may have even linked that to the chat at one point, but yeah, it is kind of depressing when you see those kinds of posts. And you have to wonder to yourself, is this real or not?
always assume it is real.
I don't know. It can make you look pretty silly when it turns out it's not real.
You were talking about playing those old games and enjoying a feeling of achievement. You know, there's a problem here. These people have never achieved anything in their lives.
Oh yeah, that was
feeling is like.
that's one of the things I'm starting. This one of the patterns I'm starting to see with these journalists, which is also fairly self-evident, but it explains a lot of their behaviors. But it seems that these journalists are like people looking from the outside in. They don't talk, act, and experience games the way the average consumer does. It's not just games, by the way, but it's very prevalent in the gaming press. But a lot of these people sound and talk like people from the outside looking in. They look at a game like Cuphead, and instead of reviewing it like a gamer, giving the information that's relevant to gamers, they review
Review
it
it
as
like a filthy casual who's also entitled and lazy and stupid.
And stupid, yes.
so. Yeah, GG, you just yeah.
Yes, that because it's all about the postmodernism. Postmodernism is a absolutely ridiculous thing. I mean, you can see that in buildings, well, not in either place. You can see it over here. Postmodernism usually does that. Yeah, like you have these old beige and gray blocks of buildings from communism, and then some postmodernist architect is like, yes, I don't like this. Let's tear this down, and we are going to do a contest for a new building. And usually, what wins is almost the same block of building, except it's white and of glass instead of just concrete.
Well, we've got a bunch of those old buildings from the 60s and 70s as well.
Uh-huh.
But they are fairly rare and they're about to be replaced. But yeah, modern architecture, except for maybe a few
Hopefully, it's
cases.
something that looks like a butt.
Well, we got
Because the modern buildings that are not just blocks of glass that look like butts.
we got a statue in the city that the Rotterdamers call the butt plug gnome. Because it's a
Nice.
gnome, it's a gnome. It's wielding some sort of sword, but the sword looks more like a butt plug.
Yes, there's some sort of mechanical clock with like tiny metal balls in it in Brno.
Hmm.
It basically looks like a giant dildo.
Great. Also,
I say,
there's a
I say, fuck postmodernism. We have to return to the Gothic age.
We have to. I don't have a lot of swords in Gothic Age. You have my vote. The thing about postmodernism is essentially, well, not with the buildings, but in like art and kind of going into video game reviews, it's essentially nihilism. And nihilism is saying that you can't understand anything because nothing has sense or can be understood like in its essence.
Wait,
So
isn't nihilism more like eventually
matters.
nothing matters, so ergo nothing has value because it doesn't
yes,
matter
that's
anymore?
true. But one of the thing in it is it's like nothing can be understood. So it's like I find it extremely scary and stupid at the same time because that's basically going against everything that human civilization was from its beginnings. It was always about discovering and people being interested in something and looking into it and inventing and having emotions and doing art. And nihilism is just negating all of that because there's no need for it when nothing can be understood or make sense.
Well, don't you know that
The point, these
feelings
people want to destroy the human civilization.
It sometimes looks like that.
destroy the parent unit because you're no longer fucking allowed to just call,
Well, communists did say that the family was the
state.
founding stone of the state. Yes.
Oh wait, they did?
Yeah.
Wow. That was always an impression that they were more or less like, parents don't need them. All you need is the state.
Actually, no. That
Tried at one point, but then they found out it didn't work.
yeah.
I can already kind of imagine. It's like that episode of Invader Sim. So you little Soviet boy or girl, you're being born, And the moment you're out of the room, there's like some officers like, welcome to life, report for duty, comrade. Let's not forget the comrade part.
Yes, you need that.
Said they did try it at first, but then they kind of found out that the state is not equipped to raise children properly.
That and you can't possibly be that omniscient.
Well, they did try. They were like, okay, so everybody's going to be working in the factories and all the fields 24 hours a day. So let's just take all your children and put them into this preschool. It didn't work out. I mean, the option existed even in here, because as I said, people were working 25/7.
Huh?
So sometimes you just had to offload those pesky children, but it wasn't mandatory anymore. Like you got to keep your children.
At least you got to keep your children.
Exactly. It wasn't like in Russia in the beginnings.
At least the state didn't take ownership of your own goddamn kids.
Yes.
It's a girl. Well, off she goes. You never get to see her again.
You can probably visit her in 20 years in the girl facility when she's leaving.
When she's leaving for Siberia or some shit like that.
Well, she has to build a railroad, Artrix.
Exactly. Someone's got to do it, and we're an equal socialist utopia, so everyone's gonna go and build the railroad to Siberia.
Everyone gets to build a piece.
Instead of the pilgrimage of some religions, it's like, yeah, you have to go and build the Siberian railroad.
Pilgrimage to communism.
you have to put down at least one beam, at least. And if you don't, then you have to go live there. So in other words, you're going to do it whether you like it or not. Anyway, we have about 20 minutes left, so I guess we can bring up one more topic before ending this episode.
You need to buy rule boxes with more time in them.
Yeah, okay. Let's do it now. Let's see, new document. Okay, so I just paid 20 quid. That gets me 6 loot boxes. Loot boxes. That is very beautiful.
Oh, did you know?
Okay, I'm going to open this one, and it's got 2 time in it. That's good. And this one's got, oh shit, this one's got -2, so we're back to 0.
And the last one has a skin for Kim Jong-un.
This one's got 10 minutes. This one's got a square. That's it. It's just a square. It doesn't mean anything.
We have a square now.
This one contains the scrin from Command and Conquer. I don't even know what they look like anymore, but they were like these spidery guys.
They are in the wood box.
And the last one, let's see. The last one has, oh, you're right, it is Kim Jong-un.
I wanted the legendary Trump skin, but all I get out is uncommon Kim Jong-un skins. That's terrible.
Alright, well, that's enough dumbfuckery.
Well, did you know they found out that Shadow of War is actually built with grind in mind? As in, they put in too much of the grind, so you had to buy rule boxes.
Yeah, that's not the kind of game I would buy.
Well, you can pirate it. Also, there's
But can you pirate the loot boxes?
Yes, it turns out, actually, yes. Because there are 2 kinds of them. The ones that you pay for with real money, and the ones that you pay for with stuff you grind in the game. The in-game currency, I don't know how it's called anymore. Oh, there's a trainer that can add you max amount of the currency or a loot box. So you can just add as much as you want. Obviously, you are not going to get the best orcs because those are for money, right? But hey, you get the good orcs at least.
Oh, GG. Yeah, that's probably a discussion for another time. This whole thing where all these developers.
Well, there was a beautiful review by review I mean complaining by this Dark Side Phil guy.
Huh?
Do you know Dark Side Phil? He exists. I'm
Um,
occasionally reminded of his existence when he begs for money. But
okay.
apparently people didn't watch his channel playing Shadow of War because people don't like Shadow of War. And he was very flabbergasted and surprised at this fact and was like, guys, loot boxes are not that bad. Come and watch my channel. He actually made an argument that you don't need to grind until the last act of the game. And that's only if you want to see the super secret bonus ending that's not compulsory.
I
How
mean,
is
I
that an
mean,
argument?
I mean, a system like that isn't bad if you can just get the content by just playing the goddamn game. So not even
Yes.
necessarily grinding, but just playing the game and having fun. But if you have to repeat the
If you
same
have to
content over and
repeat the
over,
same actions all over again, yes, that's
then
what you have to do.
yes, and that's
Yeah,
shitty.
come to an orc, fight the orc, dominate the orc, make him your spy in the orc organization, and then do that with 20 more orcs. That's how the game works. And it's probably not the like. Okay, they added the grind in there. They added too many steps needed for that to work. But I think that's just the problem of these games, just like Ubisoft games, focusing on the gimmick. It's like, yes, this is a thing you are going to do 90% of the game, and we are not going to introduce anything new to it. Deal with it. Also, towers, towers everywhere. You need to have towers. I think they should add more towers into the loot boxes. Honestly, that there's not enough towers in the loot boxes. Like, imagine you open a loot box and suddenly there's a new tower on your map you can climb. Why do all these games have to have towers, Artrix?
All of them,
All of them.
even Super Mario Kart.
Even Super Mario Kart. Like, I mean, everything from Ubisoft. Far Cry, Watch Dogs, the thing with the ins. Everything has towers. Even fucking Tomb Raider. Even though I heard that in Tomb Raider it wasn't as stable, but I don't believe
The
it.
new South Park game doesn't have towers, and that
That's
one
a
is
shame
really
because in
cool.
that game it would be a good satire. Yes, and that's it. That was me not being happy about loot boxes.
All right. Do we have
The
anything?
whole,
Oh, go ahead.
the whole thing with Ahead in Time.
Oh, what about it?
New indie 3D platformer kinda got overshadowed by Cuphead and the new South Park game, but
Oh,
still
the thing about the girl with the head. Yes.
Oh yeah,
pretty
yeah.
damn, it's a still pretty damn good 3D platformer. But
Isn't it like continuing in the tradition of the old stuff, like the original Banjo Kazooie and Jack and Dexter and shit like that?
it does a much better job at it than the whole ukulele thing and so on.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, I've apparently it's kind of buggy in the sense that there's just some things that just plain break. But other than that, it looks like a solid platform. I might even just get it if it's like cheap. And I don't think they're actually asking much for it. Probably something
It's a standard indie game money.
which is like what, a tenner, maybe two
Yes.
tenors.
But it has the Satan in it. I think Sekele wanted to talk about it. Sekele
Mhm.
talk about it.
Yeah, do talk more. You
Really
have to.
our game journalists' friends and all of their supporters are now doing all in their power to destroy the game.
But
Yes.
why?
A few optional NPCs, NPCs you don't even have to talk to finish the
Yes.
game, happen to be voiced by JonTron, who does not believe that all light babies must have their throat slits at birth. And apparently that's very problematic.
Obviously. Um. So this is. Oh, I didn't even know that it was that game. That
Uh, It was more games. Apparently, these people who make indie games keep using him in their games.
It's almost like like gamers actually like him.
No, it's almost like he donates vast sums of money to their Kickstarters.
And that too.
So it's not completely like out of the goodness of their heart and the right things to do and other things that the leftists like to say. And Lenin, obviously.
But
Yes,
Oh.
he keeps getting into the game.
and obviously, he's a fairly big name. It's good for marketing.
He's a big man.
That too. He's pretty big. Have you seen him? He's at least half my size. At least.
He's,
I am-
he,
I
they
am-
say his
Pretty
neck
much.
beard spans miles.
I mean he is a big guy.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Don't leave me hanging.
I just
He is a
Yeah.
big man.
yes, and
Big,
I did
big.
ooh 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 ooh.
Is that the way you say for you?
Yes.
Oh.
See, you. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Ah. Keks of the tops.
Well,
yeah,
maybe we should let Sekele finish.
that might be a good idea. Do you have anything else to add to this, or was it just that JonTron was in it and
Not really, except maybe the fact that journals are openly telling people read the game and every single game the developer will ever make in the future.
Obviously. And our German contact sent us a link to Neofag forums, and it's beautiful how there are people condemning it into worst fashion because of this crime against humanity, and then there are people like, "What did JonTron do wrong? I'm out of the loop." And yet other people are like, "Well, I mean, I don't like him, but I've been waiting for this game for 10 years. I'm not going to let this spoil my experience of the game and my enjoyment."
well, obviously your enjoyment is racist and problematic, and you need to check your
Your
privilege.
entire family must be killed in a concentration camp because of it.
Nah, we don't need concentration camps when we have Muslims.
But
They do the killing for free, and it's honorable.
but concentration camps, that sounds like work. That means we need to exchange money for goods and services. We can't have that in our socialist utopia.
Okay, what if we let the people we wanted to put into concentration camp build the concentration camp?
So that's kind of what the Soviets did.
yeah,
Yes, but that was in Siberia. They were like, "Where are you going to run? There's nothing in the 7,000 miles in that direction, and nothing but wolves in 8,000 miles in that direction."
I know how this is going to go down. So you put these people in concentration camps that have to build themselves, and then they check up on them to see if they're dead yet, and then they actually build like this entire civilization, like this walled city.
Then you are triggered.
That's more or less what happened on the Siberia, actually.
So they send people to Siberia as a punishment, and then they checked up on them, and they build a superior society in Siberia.
No, not superior. It's just a society of sheikhs. The point is, you don't need fences in Siberia.
No, because in Siberia, fences you.
Exactly. Good luck freezing to death and getting eaten by wolves.
In Siberia, wolves eat you. Oh wait.
Because that's what happens when you leave
Some-
your
some
prison.
In some situations, in Siberia, you eat wolf.
Yes, this is true. When
And now I start to wonder what wolf tastes like. It probably tastes like chicken.
probably better than your inmate, honestly.
Probably.
Then again, sometimes when you had like the camps with more guards than usual, people did choose to run away and freeze to death instead of getting just thrown into ditches and, well, digging those ditches. They just kept digging ditches and in those camps. I don't know why.
Weren't there like stories of people in the Soviet Union being forced to dig trenches, and then another team was ordered to fill them up
That's
to keep
entirely
them
possible.
to keep them busy.
That sounds like something they would do.
Like we gotta keep everyone working in our socialist utopia where no one is ever jobless. So you, comrade, dig a trench. Okay,
It's
trench has
true
been
that
dug.
that sometimes when the Soviets would have too many people working in one industry, and as a result have overproduction,
Hmm?
as in like too much product is being produced,
Hmm?
they put mandatory quotas on the citizens to you know to use
Consume.
up these products. Like you have to eat this much sugar, or you have to eat this much eggs.
Yep, that what happens if you try and have a centrally planned economy. Um, it doesn't adapt to the actual need of a certain goods or good or service. So
To adapt their needs.
yeah, so
You don't adapt to their needs, but their needs have to adapt to you.
oh god, yeah.
By the way, is exactly what our friends are trying to do.
Oh yep, I'm definitely aware of this this mantra of yeah, demand dictates or the dictates supply dictates demand. So
Which
by
makes no
change,
sense at all.
well, that's what some of these people believe in. So that also it also stands to reason that if we just change the
It's like
games,
you go to a vendor and are like, "Do you have pears?" He's like, "No, but I have 7 million apples. Buy some apples." And I'm like, "I still want pears though. I'm going to go to some other person."
well, it does have the pairs, and yes, they do. It's the same. You know, I'm looking for a specific video card. I go to the video store, and they're like, "We don't have it." And I just walk to the next one over, and they're like, "Yeah, we have it. You can buy it with us."
Yes, yes,
It's
indeed.
it's capitalism, delicious. On that note, I guess we should end today's episode of the least professional podcast on the entire planet. Like,
Okay.
favorite, subscribe, and all that good jazz.
And if you don't like it, then go to a different podcast vendor
Yes.
I think
Then-
they are already doing that.
because you have the choice to fuck off.
Actually,
Unlike in communism or Venezuela, you can fuck off from Venezuela.
Actually, no. I just took over the entire role. It's my communist utopia now, and this is the only podcast left on the planet. You can check now. I'll wait. And then after that, yeah, you have no choice but to listen to Radio Rothingham forever.
What a horrifying fate.
It imagine a bird stomping on a human face forever. And with that bit of wisdom, I'm going to end it for realsies. So, Catix, bye.